Cool. Okay, welcome to Extern Bootcamp. I am Dana Palazzo, and I'm going to be one of the other instructors with Davey. So I am originally from Youngstown, Ohio. Who knows where that is? Ooh, are you from Ohio? Cool. Near Youngstown? Are you from near Youngstown? Canton. Okay, awesome. Are you a Cavaliers fan? Sweet. Awesome. Go Cavs. So I am from Youngstown, but I moved to Bloomington in 2011. And at the time, I was an economic developer. So I worked with local businesses to bring them to Bloomington and help them grow and succeed. And then I started working more and more with technology companies. And the closer I got to them, the more I realized, wow, this is really interesting work. The developers that are working at these companies are problem solving all day long. And they're working on some really cool projects. And so I was hooked. So what I did was I quit my job and I went to a boot camp, just like you guys. Last October, I went to a 14-week boot camp, so a little bit longer than here. And I learned how to be a developer. And then fast forward to today, I'm now a developer with Fretless. And as you know, Fretless is a software consultancy here in Indianapolis. We work on web and mobile apps for clients. And among other things, we have a contract with TechPoint to deliver this boot camp every summer, which we love doing. And so if you have questions along the way of logistics or your lodging or anything like that, that relates more towards the extern program, you'll want to reach out to the TechPoint folks. But if you have questions about code or homework or things like that, then you'll reach out to Davey and me. Davey, do you want to do a brief introduction of yourself, or did you already do that when I was there?
I am Davey, and I've been doing programming for kind of an embarrassingly long time. I was a computer science major. I'm the only computer science major from our company, though, so don't have to be. I do this for a living. Strictly speaking, I did go to a boot camp once. I did a 5-day iOS development boot camp. So I've also taught close to, over 300, quite a bit over 300 bootcamp students now, about 350, I think. And so we've seen a lot of what gets people ahead and so on. So, listen to these tips. They might help you.
Awesome. Thank you. Sweet. So let's see. Henry, would you like to read that quote?
To remain valuable in our economy, therefore, you must master the art of quickly learning complicated things.
So this is a quote from the book Deep Work. And as a developer, you have to be adaptable and ready for change. So that's something that I think you'll learn over the next 3 weeks. New languages and frameworks are coming out all the time. So it's important not just to learn the material and to learn the code, but it's important to learn how to code and to think like a programmer and think like a developer. And that's what we'll be teaching you over the next 3 weeks as well. So what to expect when you're in extern bootcamp? So it's going to be hard. Sometimes it might feel like it's overwhelming or even impossible. And this is a 3-week course, so you're going to learn a lot of information in a short amount of time. And it might sometimes feel like it's going in one ear and out the other, but that's okay. Don't worry. Some of the tips that we have assembled for you today will help you get the most out of it. So take a minute, and who knows what this says?
Get out what you put in.
Yes. Thank you for saying it like that. Yes. Try and push yourself over the next 3 weeks. It's only 3 weeks of your time. So try and do the homework. Try and do the extra credit. Push yourself, challenge yourself, see what you can do. It's going to be really important. The available material is limitless. There's so much information out there. You have us as resources. Please use us, talk to each other, and try to give it your all these next 3 weeks. Davey will give you an awesome example of that with Bill and Ted.
Some of my slides, she can make sense on some of them.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about 2 hypothetical bootcamp students, Bill and Ted. Bill does some of the bonus work. Doing a nice job. Go Bill. Ted shows up on time, does all his homework, does the bonus work, and then he says, I'd like to do more. I'd like to add this feature to my code. He goes a little further. He does some Googling. He adds even more. He figures, you know what? This isn't a graded class. This isn't a graded class. We have 3 weeks to learn as much as possible. Not just to get an A, right? You're not just trying to get through it. You're trying to do as much as you can so you have this distraction-free, more or less distraction-free opportunity to pack in as much as possible. So he does that. Now, who do you think is going to do better? It may not seem like much over the course of 3 years, but just an extra hour a night over the course of a year, it's 365 extra hours. In a few years, it's 1,000. So it's worth doing just a little more. So where are they today? Bill is a respected documentary director. Nothing wrong with that. He has a job. Ted's freaking John Wick, man. And Neo. John Wick and Neo. Now, which would you rather be? That's right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So tip number 2, try to solve the problems yourself. So you're here to challenge yourselves, right? Try as hard as you can to tackle those problems yourself. Honestly, one of the most important parts about learning how to code is learning how to think like a developer, like I said. So it's like lifting weights or going to the weight room. You're not going to show up the first day and bench press your body weight. You're going to need to go and put in the reps, go each day, practice, and give yourself that practice so you could learn how to think like a developer. So as you're problem solving, one good tip is to break it down. So if you have a problem, for example, someone asks you, hey, can you dynamically render items in a list depending upon the button that was clicked? It's like, okay, that sounds kind of complicated, but break it down. See if you could first render all the items. Just print it to the console. And then see, okay, can I target one of the items within that list? And then can I target the button? So just break it down into digestible chunks, get something to work, and then keep building upon that. Then you want to check out the documentation. So Mozilla Developer Network, MDN, WebDocs is a great resource for developers. We use it all the time. And it's a great place to go and check out the syntax of something maybe you just don't know, definitions, examples. It's going to be a valuable resource to you. And then finally, Google it. If you go through the process, you look at MDN, you're not finding the answers, or it's still a little bit confusing, just Google it. See what you could find. There's a ton of information out there. So again, try and solve the problem yourself, but don't stay stuck. That's the worst thing you could do. So if you've broken it down, if you've checked the documentation, if you've Googled it, and then spent another 15 minutes on it, ask for help. So whether it's your classmate, me, Davey, reach out to us, because it could be something as silly as you have a semicolon somewhere where it doesn't belong and you just needed that second pair of eyes. Or it's something that we have not gone over, it's really complicated, and you need some extra help, or you're going down the wrong path. So don't stay stuck. That's the reason we're here, to be a resource. So reach out to us, ask us anytime, especially in study hall. And then along with that, help each other. I find it so not only rewarding, but beneficial to help other people and other developers. As soon as I graduated the boot camp that I went through, I became a TA there, and now I'm doing this with Davey. And I learned so much just from answering other people's questions and sitting down with them and looking at their code. So it's really helpful, and it's also really helpful to learn how to talk about code out loud. Because especially in interviews, they're going to ask you about a project you're working on or how you solve this problem. And it's good practice to get that with a classmate or a peer. And then learn from our mistakes. We might seem like master programmers, but we will make mistakes too. And it's really important and valuable to watch us troubleshoot those mistakes. You will see how a developer in the real world troubleshoots what actions they take to figure out their questions or their problems, and how they read error messages. And believe me, error messages are your friend. Sometimes they could be really unhelpful, like this one on the screen. Just, what does that mean?
You know what it means? Classic from HP printers. It means there's no paper. They thought PC load letter would be
What does that mean?
paper cassette load letter-sized paper. I guess is what they were thinking. A PC load letter. Yeah, terrible message.
Terrible. But sometimes they are helpful. And you will be happy when you see an error message sometimes, because it'll tell you maybe something simple. There's an unidentified, unexpected identifier, or something that is helpful. So watch how we read those messages, check our developer tools, because it's really helpful and it's great to troubleshoot. This is really important. I find myself doing it, but please don't compare yourselves to others. That's one of the hardest things not to do, but it's something that's really important. We all come from different backgrounds. We're all at different points in our life. We all have different education, and we learn differently. So don't compare yourself to the person sitting next to you. If you see people raising their hands a lot and they're getting it, don't compare yourself to them. Just compare yourself to where you were maybe last week or the day before. You'll be surprised how much you progress over the next 3 weeks. So if you must compare yourself to someone, compare yourself to you and to the progress that you've made over the weeks. And I hate that we have to say this, but don't be a know-it-all. Don't raise your hand to ask a question just to seem like you know what you're talking about. That's awesome, and it's great that you do know and that you're catching on. But if you know something, maybe share it with a classmate that's struggling, or sit down and help tutor someone later at night. Just
Real questions are absolutely legit.
totally.
But if you've all taken some college courses by now, you've probably been there. Somebody keeps raising their hands to ask, but they don't have a question. They want to show off how much they already know. I'll just tell you ahead of time, we're all very impressive. So you don't have any room to impress. We already know you're better than that.
But do raise your hand and ask questions if you have questions and aren't understanding a concept or something. Definitely please do that. But yeah, let's not be know-it-alls. Nobody likes that. And finally, of course, have fun. Make some friends. Celebrate your wins. If you have an error message, you change your code, you get a new one, celebrate that. That's progress. That's exciting. It's going to be tough, but it's going to be fun. Make some friends. Have a good time. Let's build some cool stuff. You could do it. Woohoo! Does anyone have any questions for me or Davey? You guys are going to do great. I'm excited.
Go team.
Do I hit this? Thanks. This thing?
Yeah.